Security analyst Jack Midgley joins us now. He's a principal of the consulting firm Midgley and Company. Jack, give me your take on this lineup that we just referred to, leading this new Taliban government. Any surprises there?
Mike, nobody can be surprised by the announcement today. The Taliban face two really fundamental political facts. The first is that the former government left. There was no reason to include anyone from the former government in this interim Taliban cabinet. And second, they have to make sure that they keep the Taliban together in these early days. And there are many factions, many different interests inside the Taliban, represented by these 33 different members. I think we'll see a lot of changes in this government in the months ahead. But at the moment, the requirement is just to get things under control. And I think it was a natural step, a straightforward step for them to behave in this way.
And Jack, I know you know that this new government wants to say and do the right things to create some type of bridge to the international community, because otherwise they're really going to struggle. I mean, this is a broken country, no real economy. What are you going to be looking for in the days and weeks to come from this government?
Well, it's broken and it's broke. Their immediate requirement is access to liquid money. And unless they can make some gestures and some real progress toward the international community, they simply won't be able to get the money that they already have. The Afghan government had about $10 billion in assets in their central bank, and you'd think that's a lot of money. The fact is they keep most of that in the United States, in the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in U.S. Treasury bonds and gold, and they can't touch any of that. Most of the rest of the money is parked overseas as well. So the fact is that although the government requires about 60% of its revenue to come from overseas development assistance, that source of money has dried up, and they can't get access to the cash that they have. So they are going to have to work the practical problem of dealing with the international community to shake loose some of their bank assets and also to restore the flow of overseas development assistance. And Mike, that's going to require concessions. There's no two ways around it.
And that type of progress you're describing, I'm looking at one red flag right off the bat. The acting interior ministers on the FBI's most wanted list. I would hazard to guess there aren't a lot of interior ministers in other countries on that list. What's going to be the Biden administration's response to this lineup?
The administration's response has been that they are not in any hurry to recognize the government of Afghanistan. And what that sounds like in Kabul is no money. So that's why I say I think this interim government is going to have to deal with the practical realities of the international financial community and the donor community, and that's why I think there'll be changes. And your piece a moment ago may have teased some of that in the education policy that was announced by the new education minister. It sounds very harsh, but in fact that policy mirrors almost exactly, almost word for word, the higher education policy of Saudi Arabia as it existed only 2 or 3 years ago. And that policy was fully supported by the international community. I think we're seeing some cracks already in the Taliban's policy approach, and it just reflects the hard reality of their financial requirements.